I'm going to take a moment to explore some activities that really help to understand the intrapersonal intelligence so that we can get an idea of where we stand on that scale for interpersonal intelligence. Some of these activities have been provided by Dr. Thomas Armstrong, and others I have found in other locations that I found very valuable in developing, exploring, and understanding intrapersonal intelligence. First, let's look at a self-collage. You want to gather together enough materials, like art materials, that would create a collage. Make sure that you have glue, scissors, paints, crayons, pencils, old magazines, newspapers, even newsprint. I personally also use the internet because I find it very simple to be able to Google pictures as I need to. And then I want you to draw, write, and glue pictures onto a paper that correspond to who you think you are. As sometimes you may able or want to actually brainstorm. You can also use some copies of photos of yourself, and then in the center of the sheet I want you to include words and images that correspond to who you are at your core. Who is your real self? The sense of self you feel when you're most alive and vital. You're going to identify then specific sub-personalities or smaller selves and depict those in words and images around the image of your real self. Let's look at goals. On a blank sheet of paper, list 10 significant goals that you'd like to achieve in your personal or your professional life. Be specific as you can as you write them down. Make sure that they really represent goals that matter to you and that they're attainable. Make sure they're not self-imposed, meaning that you feel you should do them, but you're not really wanting to. Those goals are really not going to be valuable to you. Then you want to order these goals with the most important one at the top and the least important at the bottom. Take a second sheet of paper and put the most important goal from your list on the top of the new page. You're going to want to also include a date that you want to reach that goal. Write down all the things you're going to need to do to accomplish the goal. Brainstorm if you need to. Talk to a friend or your spouse. And then you're going to take a third sheet of paper and list all the activities for the goal that you need, and make sure that you're going to put them in the order that need to be done in order for you to complete the goal. In order, this is what I need to do first, this is what I need to do second, etc., etc. Then you're going to do these activities. Start at the top and go down. After you accomplish it, make sure you check it off and go on to the next one. And you're going to continue with this process until you reach your goal. Now, remember, I love this quote. Whatever you can do or dream, you can. Begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin now. Let's also look at how we can really know ourselves. First, try keeping a journal. You can record just about anything. It doesn't have to be just a personal history. You can do a dream journal, daydreams, gratitude journals, imagery, inner dialogues, daily logs. I found at one point that when I kept a gratitude journal, in the beginning it was very difficult for me to think of things for which I should be grateful for. Look at meditation. It really offers the best and most time-honored tool for self-knowledge. It provides a means to consciously look at our inner experiences, and especially things that we typically gloss over during the course of our day. Also look at dream work. Sigmund Freud called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. So you want to remember and learn to understand our dreams. It can be a very powerful method to really explore your inner self. You can make associations, like take an image from your dream and write down all the connections that you have to it. You can also connect dream images to your inner dynamics, like relate the dream images to what's going on in your own life, and then interpret them. Put together your associations and personal connections. Lastly, you may want to perform some rituals, like do something concrete to really bring the dream from the world of your imagination into the real world. For instance, Dr. Armstrong suggests that you go to a nearby vacant lot and walk around it, thinking about what it is in you that you may need to really develop. Let's look at exploring our inner self. Sit in a comfortable chair in a quiet room. Close your eyes and begin to focus on your breathing. Breathe normally and notice the sensation of air passing through your nostrils with each inhale and exhale. If your concentration begins to wander, simply return your concentration and attention back to your breathing. You may find that your attention keeps wandering off to a certain thought, feeling, sensation, or perception. If this happens, notice that experience, but don't focus on it. After identifying it, return to your breathing. Keep your attention focused on your breath. If your mind wanders again, just keep repeating this process of identifying the experience and returning to catch your breath. Remember, you should continue meditating like this for approximately 20 minutes. Let's look at a do-it-yourself retreat. This has become very popular over the course of time, especially as we've noticed it getting more expensive to take vacations. First, you want to consult your calendar and block off 1 or more days that you can use as a retreat time just for yourself. Arrange in advance to stay at a location or somewhere you can make it apart from your home. There are times that I will dedicate a space in my home for that, and I want to make sure that I have no obligations and I have no distractions. See that your regular meals are provided for, or that you can attain them quickly, so that you don't really have to think about those eating arrangements, because you want to spend all of your time alone, or as much of it as possible. You want to use your retreat any way that you want. However, here's some basic components. Make sure that you take time to really assimilate experiences from the outside world. Something you might want to do, read a book or walking, looking at nature. Make sure that you have do nothing time, simply meditation, sleeping, dreaming, the time to incubate those experiences that you've really already taken in. And lastly, you want some expression time, time to externalize those experiences, like writing in a journal is a great way to do it, drawing, painting. Some people even enjoy dancing or movement to music, especially if you have that musical intelligence already very well developed. Now, pay attention to new insights, intuitions, images, or even conceptions of yourself that emerge from your retreat. And after you've come back to the world, make sure that you refer back to your experience periodically by reading your journal. You want to put important messages where you can see them, maybe it's on your wall, or engage in activities that really call up this retreat for you. And this way you can really integrate what you've learned into your daily life. Lastly, take a few moments with your journal or just by yourself and reflect. I want you to reflect on these activities and what you learned about yourself. Which activities did you find the most beneficial and why? Do you possess a highly developed or underdeveloped interpersonal intelligence? And what do you want to do to really develop it? Lastly, how can developing this intelligence in the pursuit of self-improvement, how can it aid you in your personal and your professional lives?